Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making a cowl neckline. There are several ways to achieve this neck style, but today I'll be showing you one of the easiest methods I use. So as usual, I'm tracing out my bodice block. But for today's project, I'm using one where the darts have already been moved to the waist. So the shoulder dart has been moved to the waist. Okay, so that's our block all traced out. The next thing I'm going to do now is draw a bust level line. So the way you do that is to just measure a straight line or draw a straight line from the dart apex to the center front line. And that's a bust level line. Next thing to do is take a measurement below the bust level line. So whatever measurement you use at this point determines the depth of the cowl. So for this, I'm just going to go with about 2.5 centimeters. Then I'm going to determine how wide I want the shoulder of my top to be. So let's say I'm going to take 2.5 at the top as well. So this will be the width of my top. So I'm going to connect this line to the one I made earlier. And then I'm going to connect this line to the bust apex. Okay, so that's what we have now. So all we're going to be doing at this point is cutting off this part because we don't need it. I'll be slashing this line we created below the bust level. So as you can see, we've cut out the excess. I've also slashed open this on the bust line we created. So now all that's left to do is to close this dart, and when we close it, the space or the dart moves to this point, creating some space here. So to close it, I'm just going to slash that line. I'm going to move it over here. So our dart is now closed and moved to this point. All you need to do now is blend this bottom part. And I'll just cut off that paper peeking through from behind. Okay, so this is what our pattern now looks like. The final step will be to get some fresh paper. And on this paper, all you need to do is fold it in two. I'm just going to draw a guideline, so basically a straight line from one edge to the other. So once that's in place, we're going to bring back our pattern and match it. So all you need to do is ensure that this point touches the paper here, and this point touches this line we've drawn, and then we're going to trace out the pattern. As an extra step, before you trace out the pattern, you can draw a 5-inch line upwards from that guideline we drew earlier. So the use of this 5-inch line is to create a facing, especially if you're not going to be lining your garment. I'm so sorry guys, I didn't realize the paper wasn't in the frame at this time, so I just drew a straight line basically at that point, and then we're going to cut it off. After taking your 5-inch line, all we need to do now is fold the initial guideline. So just fold it backwards. Then place your pattern on top of it, and we're going to be tracing our pattern now. So open up the folded part and you'll have the same markings, so just pencil those out as well. So this is the facing, and this is the shell. But for this, since this is a facing, we don't need it to be this long, so you can actually take it down and shape it this way. So I'm just going to use this to fine-tune it. So that's our pattern all done. Once it's cotton fabric, it's going to look like this. So that's what it's going to be like inside. It's not going to be full. It's going to have a curved line, and then when you put it on, this is the cowl part that's going to drop. So I'll just cut it on fabric now for you to see. So I'm going to be using this fabric for the sample. Now, because it's a cowl neckline, we're going to be cutting the top on a bias. What that basically means is cutting the fabric on the grain line. So I'm going to take the edge of the fabric and create like a triangle. So if you notice, it now has much more stretch than it did before. So I'll just open up to show you. When it's not on the bias versus when it's on the bias. So I'm just going to press my fabric now and then cut. Pattern is cut out, and there's the facing, what it looks like inside, and we're just going to pin it on the mannequin just so you have a better view. So this is what your pattern should look like at this point. Just some things to note is the lower you go, the more cowl effect you'll have. The wider you go as well, the more effect you'll see. Thank you so much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.